In this lecture, we will cover some important additional commands which you can use to make sketching both faster and easier. Those are patterns, trim, mirror, and offset. To show what they do, let us try sketching this shape. If you look closely at the shape, you will notice that there are small parts of the shape that keep repeating over and over. So let's go ahead and sketch that base shape. I'm going to select the right plane and sketch, and then this shape is basically two lines, so I'm going to sketch one line and then the second line. Now let's go ahead and define this shape. So first we're going to build our relations. So this point here is in a vertical position to the origin, so I'm going to do that. And then this point here is in a horizontal position to the origin, so I'm going to do that as well. And then I'm going to do my distances. From this point to the origin, it's 0.5 inches. And then from this line to the origin, it's 1.5 inches. And the last thing is this angle, which we have as 45. So now we have fully defined the base shape. Now notice that this shape repeats to the right 3 more times. So we don't really want to do the same thing 3 more times. And so instead, we're going to use the linear sketch patterns. You will be able to see that on the top, so click on that. And then here, under this field that says entities to pattern, we're going to select the field, and then we're going to select the two lines we want to pattern. So this is the first one, and then this is the second one. Here we will input how many times we want the shape to be patterned. This is including the original sketch we made. So we want the total to be 4 times, so we're going to say 4. And then we're going to this field here, which states the distance between each of the patterns. So I'm going to increase that, and you're going to see how that in the canvas. Now this here does not define the sketch, so don't worry too much about it. We're just going to have it 1.7 because we know they're separate. So we're going to click OK, and now we have the same sketch repeated 4 times. However, notice that the 3 additional shapes that we generated of the linear pattern command are not fully defined. So if I click and hold this point and I move, you're going to see that all 3 are moving. So we want to fully define the position of this. So I'm going to click this point, and I'm going to click on this other point here, and I want those to be in a horizontal position. That's one. And then I want this point to be coincident with this line. So I'm going to select the point, line, and add the relation coincident. And now you notice our sketch is fully defined. Notice there is a line at the bottom, so we're going to go ahead and draw that. We're going to select line, and we're going to draw a line from the last corner to the origin. And we're going to exit line command. Notice there's this 3 small lines that are an extension of this bigger line that we don't really want. So we want to cut these. And here where we can use the trim entities command, which you can see at the top. If I click on that, and then if you click and hold and start moving the mouse, you'll see this line appearing. This line is basically a cutting line. So if I want to cut this section here, I can press and hold and move the mouse, and now I've cut it. I can do the same thing here. I can do the same thing here as well. We're done trimming, so let's exit the trim command. Let's look again at the original figure we're trying to resketch. You notice that this whole thing we sketched just now is reflected on the other side. So let's go ahead and do that. And we will use the mirror command for this. But before you mirror something, you need a line to mirror the whole sketch about. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to line, we're going to the drop menu, we're going to select center line, and we're going to the origin and draw a line, a vertical line. This line is what we want the reflection to be based on. So we're going to exit the line, and then we're going to select the mirror entities command. If you click on that, you get two fields in the left. One is the entities to mirror. In this case, we want to mirror everything we sketch, so we'll just highlight everything. The other field is mirror about, and here we're going to select the center line we just drew. So if I select that, you notice the reflection. So then I click OK, and I have the whole sketch reflected. We have so far completed the inner part of the figure we wanted. Notice that the outer part is the same as the inner part with 0.3 inches distant between them. Basically, it's an offset of the inner part, an offset by 0.3 inches. So to do that, we're going to select the offset entities command. So click on that. And in distances, we're going to have it as 0.3 inches. And then we're going to select the sketch we already made. So if I click here, you notice the offset that was created. So I'm going to click OK. And now we have our figure resketched, and it is also fully defined. If I go to the design tree and I click sketch, and then I go to features tab and I select extrude feature, you will notice we are moving to the third dimension. So let's try adjusting the distance here. I'm going to increase it. I'm going to have it 0.5 inches. Click OK, and we have our first three-dimensional object. You can click and hold the wheel button in the mouse and move so you can see what we have just created. And yes, going 3D is that easy.
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air.